Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of My Tour Tales. I'm Eric Stone. In this episode, I'll be interviewing Wayne Stinnett, the author responsible for the Charity Styles and Jesse McDermott series. He's self-published and a very inspiring guy. You will learn a lot, I promise. Stay to the end. We'll see you then. Tell me how you got started. You were a truck driver before you had several other jobs, right? You're from the Marines. You spent a lot of time in the Marines, but you've been driving a truck for most of your life, right? Or am I wrong about that? Tell me about how you got started writing books, I guess.
Well, I was in the Marine Corps for 4 years, and after that I went into construction, worked 20 years in construction, and during that time I tried to get a bunch of short stories published. And the short stories never went anywhere, they never got published or anything, so I set it aside and life happened, kids came along, and I just had to earn a living, so I kept working. And then about 6 or 7 years ago, my wife found my divorce papers from my first wife. And on the back, I'd handwritten a chapter on a short story I was writing, and I'd forgotten all about it. And so we searched around and found the floppy disk that I'd saved those short stories on. She read the chapter. She said I should try it again. So we found the floppy disks. Then we had to find a computer to run it on.
Yeah. And
transfer it onto a CD. And then I kind of melded them together and created a novel. And that was five and a half years ago. And here we are, 17 novels later.
So once you started writing in the sleeper, you were still driving the truck. How long did you keep working, and then when did you release your first book, and how did that go? Just the whole process of that, how'd that go?
I wrote the first 4 books basically in the sleeper of the truck. Whenever I'd come home, it was usually for only 1 or 2 days, and the honey-do list was miles long, so I had to leave writing in the truck and come home and
That's really cool.
Be a father.
And so then you quit. That must have been pretty scary, or were you prepared for it mentally?
We were almost prepared for it. We'd set a date when I was going to quit. I was going to quit on June 30th, and ended up quitting on May 14th. And so for that 6 weeks, it was really scary.
Oh, I can imagine.
We had just nothing, no trucking income coming in.
Right.
The writing income is delayed 2 months. You get paid 2 months from the month of sales.
Oh, yeah.
So it was really, really tight for a few weeks. But then the 4th book came out right on schedule, and it was a huge success, and everything just took off from there.
If you were a new writer, or what would you tell a new writer? Should they jump in with both feet, or should they keep their day jobs and write on the part-time until they can release a book? How are your feelings about that?
Definitely don't do what I did.
No?
No,
Too scary?
It's very scary. I would recommend that you have at least replaced your income and have set aside 1 year of your income before you quit your job. Okay. And it's easy to supplement your income with writing. I replaced my income in just a few months.
Wow.
But I didn't save up enough money to make it a logical change of careers. You really need a little bit of a buffer just in case.
Yeah, you wanted a big padding. It'd be a better way to go.
I mean, the zombie apocalypse could happen anytime.
Right. So Wayne, tell me what you think the difference is between a writer and a storyteller.
Well, I consider myself to be a storyteller.
Okay.
To me, a professional writer, is somebody who has some background in literature, or at least somebody who didn't fail English in high school.
Right.
That would be me.
Yeah.
I managed to squeak by high school English with a D, only because of creating a writing class and a really good teacher.
Wow.
But a writer is somebody who writes professionally. A storyteller is somebody who sits around a campfire and keeps people entertained. And if you can combine the two through whatever means, it doesn't necessarily mean that a writer is a good storyteller. And a storyteller doesn't always make a good writer.
Right.
But fortunately, for storytellers like myself, there are a lot of good editors. And a good editor can make a storyteller into an author with no problem.
So editing is super important for people that can be storytellers, but
it's absolutely mandatory. I mean, you can write an entire novel and then edit it for the next 5 years, but you know the story. You know how it flows, and you know how you're going to skip. Your eyes are going to skim over the word "the," where it should be "they." Every single time you read it, you're not going to see the words because you already see them up in your head.
I can relate to that because, like, when I sing a song that people know the words to the song, my song especially, sometimes I mess up the words. People don't notice because they're singing right through it in their head.
Yeah.
They're singing the same song, and I said the wrong line, and they don't. You never really. It's rare that you see somebody that go, "What?" It is because they don't hear you. They hear the melody.
They know the melody. If they know the song. If
Yeah,
they don't
know
know
the
the
song.
song,
Oh yeah,
they'll find it.
that's a whole different story. Yeah.
And that's the same in writing. The reader doesn't know the song.
Right.
The reader is just seeing what's presented right in front of them.
Okay.
They're the listener to the song. And if you mess up the song lyrics or I mess up the storyline, the reader's going to know it because he doesn't know the song or the story.
Okay, that's really cool. Tell me about, because you wrote books, and I don't know if you did this from the very beginning, but all your books have audiobooks attached to them, where you can get them.
Yeah.
And have you done that from the very beginning, or did you go back afterwards and start doing that?
No, that came later. Producing audiobooks is a lot more expensive than producing an ebook or paperback.
Right.
Audiobook narrators usually charge anywhere around $200 to $400 per finished hour. A novel's going to be 10 hours long.
Okay.
So that's $2,000 to $3,000.
Right. Just for their pay.
Just for them to record it. And so I waited until I was into 2015 before I started producing audio. And I found a great narrator, Nick Sullivan, and he was the 64th person to audition for my books. And thank God I waited until then because he's the voice of Jesse McDermott.
For sure.
And we came to an agreement. He offered to do the first two books at a low price, really good price. And then I promised to give him a raise after that. That was the end of our promise. We were going to go from this number to this number, and then he was going to do the whole series. Since then, I've given him 3 more raises because he's really good and he's worth it.
So Nick, next time I ask you to buy a beer, don't give me any bullshit. So you said something to me the other day I thought was pretty amazing. You said that when you write now, you write as Nick's voice, who is Jesse. You write in that voice.
Now when I write, instead of the voices that I used to hear in my head, those voices have morphed into Nick's voice.
Okay.
And the way he handles my characters. So now when I write, I'm writing Jesse's part, and it's in a totally different. Well, he does Jesse in exactly the voice I wanted.
Yeah.
But now, like Rusty Thurman.
Yeah.
That's what got him the deal, was his rendition of Rusty.
That's
Nobody else did anything close to that, and he's an old conch.
Yeah.
His dad was a conch. His grandpa was a conch. That's somebody who's born and raised in the Keys. But he was able to bring that flavor out. So now I include more Rusty in my books, just because I like the voice.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, it's a very unique voice for sure. He does a lot of voices too. That's what's amazing to me. It's like that's really cool.
People who listen to my books on Audible think that I actually have more than one narrator.
I can see that.
A whole troop of people standing around a microphone going back and forth.
I can see that.
But he does male voices, female voices. He knows the difference between a Jamaican accent and an Androsian accent.
Wow.
He knows the difference between, he can do French, just anything. I tried to stump him sometimes. I've failed so far. I put a New Zealander in my last book, figuring.
Nick, is your head growing?
But yeah, he's a great narrator, and it's totally changed the way I write.
That's cool. But what advice would you give a new writer, an aspiring young writer that wanted to break into the business? I mean, is it more than one thing you tell them, or is there one particular piece of advice that you would say? Like you told me to write 1,000 words a day, and I really took that to heart. Is there any other advice that you would give to a new aspiring writer?
Don't get discouraged.
Okay.
When you publish your first book, it's not going to sell. You might sell a copy to your mom and dad and your brothers and sisters and cousins, Well, my cousin didn't buy one, but don't get discouraged because it's not gonna sell very well.
Train coming down the track.
Yeah. What really sells a book, I mean, you can pump all kinds of money into your first book. You can advertise, you can do different promotional schemes, all kinds of stuff. But nothing's going to sell that first book as well as the second book does.
So would you say that that's one of the biggest tips as well? Do a series?
Yeah, write another book.
In the same series. That's important, right? To keep character development going?
I think so. Standalone books are there's still a place for them, but most people prefer a series. They want to get to know a character and get invested in the character and learn more about him, and then read more and more about him.
You're not from here originally, right? You're from another part of Carolina, right?
Well, originally I'm from Florida.
Oh, you're from Florida, huh?
I met my wife on the internet 18 years ago.
Wow.
I moved to South Carolina.
Okay.
We lived up in Greenville, up in the mountains, in the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains. Great area. 4 distinct seasons. You had beautiful fall foliage.
Lots of deer
and snow.
Oh yeah, that dreaded S word.
One by one, our kids left, and we're sitting up there in the mountains, and we were snowed in, and the power was out, and I was throwing logs on the fire to keep the house warm. Here comes that train again. And so we decided it was time to move. And moving to Beaufort was just a perfect spot. It's where our oldest daughter lived.
Okay.
She needs a little bit of help since her stroke, and we just wanted to be close to her. That's my.
Had you really spent a lot of time here before, or when she'd moved to you probably visited her, right?
We've been to Beaufort many times. Parris Island is just right across the river. It's where I went to boot camp.
That's a very special place.
Yeah, it's a very special place. Very good friend of mine that I joined the Marine Corps with was stationed here in Beaufort, so I came down from North Carolina when I was in the Corps, and came down and visited him a lot. So yeah, and we have the ocean.
Yeah.
And the difference between living in the mountains where I have zero contact with the sea and living here where you're full on contact, you're looking at it every day, seeing it every day, following the rise and fall of the tide, it's changed the way I write. I'm a lot more in touch with, I grew up in Florida and was always on the water.
Cool.
So being back on the water was like I just come home.
Wow, that's great. And you originally, how long you lived here now?
Here in Beaufort for almost 3 years.
Okay. And you did most of your writing in the beginning out of your home, right? And now you have this incredible office on the top of the marina. We call this the crow's nest, right? Actually. Yeah. And what has the transition been like, pros and cons, from writing at home and now writing in an office?
Well, it's made my family life a whole lot better.
Well, yeah.
Before, when I had the home office,
Uh-huh.
I'd get up in the morning, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, whatever, and go into my home office, and I'd sit down and start working, and I'd be working until sometimes 1 or 2 in the morning. I'd work right through everything. I'd get up and go eat dinner, of course, because there was no time for Greta and I to have together, my wife, and just transitioning from that lifestyle into the office where I come into work early in the morning, I leave my computer here at the office, and I go home at 4 or 5 o'clock, and I'm completely unplugged. And now we go for walks in the afternoon. We sit down. We've always sat down to dinner together, but now we're able to spend more time together. We go to bed at the same time. I think that's pretty important in a relationship.
Yeah.
And it's just made our home life a whole lot better.
That's great. That's cool. Good to hear.
Output-wise, it hasn't affected me very much. The writing part of it is really only 2 or 3 hours a day. And the business aspect of it, I've trained myself to just ignore a lot of the business and let it happen.
So, you do marketing yourself, or do you hire out marketing?
I do the marketing also. I'm the publicist, I'm the agent, I'm the writer, I'm the publisher, I'm the chief bottle washer.
Right.
If it breaks, it's my fault.
Well, that's good. That also means you're your own boss, which has got its benefits, I know.
Yeah, definitely does.
Wayne, as a truck driver, how much did you make a year, and how long did it take? This is like a multi-part question. How long did it take to get to where you were blown away about the income? I know you didn't probably expect it at first, but just tell me about the whole thing, going from being a truck driver, from blue collar to no collar. Tell me about that.
Well, the whole idea of writing, to start with, I just wanted to earn enough money to buy some power tools, so I could build boats and build furniture and stuff like that.
So it was a side hustle in your mind?
Well, enough to get off the road.
Sure.
I was gone two weeks and then home for a day or two.
Okay.
And life on the road's expensive.
Yeah.
You know that.
Yeah.
You eat at a truck stop, it's $20. And you eat at a McDonald's 3 times a day, you'll kill yourself.
True, true.
So the idea was to get off the road and replace my income with some woodworking. And my dad was a carpenter, so I can do a little bit of woodworking.
Nice.
But it didn't take long to realize that could be a whole heck of a lot more than that. By the time I published my 3rd novel, I'd already replaced my trucking income.
3rd novel, wow. And how much you're making? How much then as a truck?
I was making almost $50,000 a year as a truck driver.
So after your 3rd novel came out, which the span of time was how long?
From October to May, April.
So in 1 year?
Yeah, 6 months.
And you replaced your yearly income.
In 6 months.
That's incredible. Wow.
It didn't stay there, though. It dropped back down after that 4th novel came out. I mean, it fluctuates.
Sure.
Your income's never going to be the same month to month.
Okay. But it went beyond your wildest dreams, didn't it?
Absolutely.
So tell me about that.
Well, I wrote Blue Collar to No Collar when I passed $500,000 in gross income.
Let's show that book and tell me a little bit about that.
Blue Collar to No Collar.
Yeah.
It's a book I wrote about not how to self-publish, but what the rewards might be if you self-publish. I wrote it when I first earned $500,000, and that took almost 2.5 years, 3 years to earn $500,000. And now I'm at the point where it's $500,000 a year, and I anticipate $1 million a year in 2020.
Oh man, I'm with you. That's why we're friends, y'all.
That's
that's just an incredibly inspiring story. I mean,
I don't say this to brag, because
no, I got you.
I'm still a small fish. There are a lot of writers that make a whole lot more money than that.
Traditional thinking, I know because I've heard people say this, is like, oh, I want to write a book, but I got to get a publisher and I got to be published, and that's not the way it is anymore, is it?
No, self-publishing started almost over 10 years ago. Now you can self-publish a novel on your own with no help from any publisher, and the publishers take 75 to 80% of the net and pay you 20%.
Wow.
And so there's no incentive not to self-publish. And there is a place for traditional publishing. They move a lot of paperbacks.
Yeah.
But paperbacks are less than half of the books that are sold today. The other half is ebooks. Well, it's way less than half because audiobooks come in there also.
Sure.
But there's no need for a publisher. If you can do it on your own, you can hire your own editors, you can hire your own formatters, you can hire your own cover designers, or if you're good at these things, you can do all those yourself.
Right.
And right. I'm not good at all those things, so I hire people.
People that know Photoshop and things like in the beginning when they first started, they can do that. I can do is design a book cover, you know. But then at some point, you know, you want to have your assistants anyway, because you want to focus on creating content, right?
Yeah,
That's what you want to do.
You want to have the right balance.
Yeah.
I could learn Photoshop.
Right.
I could go back to school and I could learn how to write Queen's English.
Right.
But what amount of my time do I devote to that versus what amount of time should I devote to my writing, which is what earns the money?
Yeah.
And yeah, it would take a little bit of time. And I'd much rather just pay somebody else to do it.
Yeah, and just focus on your writing.
Yeah. Or other pursuits.
Yeah.
I've got a nice new boat right out there.
Yeah, right. Yeah. You only write 2 hours a day, so you've got usually a lot more time to enjoy life.
Now, don't get me wrong, if a publisher were to approach me with the right attitude and the right offer, I would consider it. That would just free up so much of my time. Not to write more, because traditional publishing wants less.
So it actually would free up your time, because you wouldn't have to worry about the marketing and the business end of it.
And that would just free up free time.
Sure.
And that's what life is all about.
Yeah.
How much fun you can have in a lifetime.
When you've achieved a lot, since you were a truck driver and now into a writer, in your third novel you made $500,000 and now you're making $500,000 a year. What are your long-term goals?
I've always been a teacher, basically, teaching other people how to do things that I could do, whether it's, playing chess or writing a book or whatever. And I want to move into publishing. I want to become a small publishing company and help other authors.
That's great.
By publishing their work. But most writers, most authors you have left brain thinkers and right brain thinkers. People that are creative like yourself, you're probably not very good at math.
Not terrible at math.
Exactly. Creative people are never good at math. Very rarely do you find somebody who's good at both. I have a long background in math and marketing and advertising, long before I ever tried to become a writer. So that background enables me to help others do things that they can't do.
That's awesome.
Understand things that they can't understand. And so I want to move. I created my own publishing company 4 years ago, Down on Press.
Yeah.
And that's who pays the lease on this office that I write in every day. That's who pays my salary. And I want to expand Down on Press into not a mainstream, not Harlequin or Penguin or anything like that, publishing thousands of authors, but just 5 or 6.
Right.
And pick 5 or 6 that I know are going to do really well and help them out.
Are you going to treat them? Is you going to treat this like a traditional publishing house? Are you going to spin the rules to help other writers a little bit more? How's it looking?
The writers would have to do some of the work. They're going to have to help with the promotion. I'll take care of the editing, the formatting, and everything for them. Cover design. They'll have input on cover design. I won't pay royalties of 25% or 20% like most traditional publishing do. 50% would be fine.
Yeah.
And that's 50% of what somebody else makes. Yeah, I could do that.
Yeah. I mean,
Or
it's 50% of something you didn't have before.
Or I could just take 20%. But we'd have a flexible method.
Yeah.
If you come to me and you want me to publish your books, but you want to do the marketing, no problem. We'll cut that royalty down a little bit, and I'll only take 20%.
Gotcha. That's cool. It'll probably be different for different people based on what their needs are and what they can bring to the table.
Yeah, and what they're able to do. In traditional publishing, the author has zero input. They write the story. Actually, they don't even decide what story to write.
Wow.
Their publisher tells them what to write.
Really?
And 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
And the publisher takes care of the editing, the formatting, everything. And the only thing the author does is write the book. And of course, the traditional publishing requires a whole lot less books. Most traditionally published authors are only publishing 1 or 2 books a year.
Wow.
And if I want to publish 3 or 4, I can.
Like most authors, they'll do a series of books and they may get to, 15, 20, I don't know what the average length is. I know some are longer than others. When do you plan on stopping the Jesse series, or any of the series for that matter? Do you have a stopping point?
No.
No.
John D. McDonald wrote 21 Travis McGee novels. He died, and he probably had an unfinished manuscript.
Wow.
And I fully intend to die with an unfinished manuscript. Sue Grafton got all the way through the alphabet, and she died after writing Y. And she never wrote the Z novel. So Randy Wayne White, he's up to 23 or 24 in the Doc Ford series with a spin-off Hannah Smith.
Very cool.
And so I've got to spin off Charity Styles a series, because whatever Randy does works, and if Randy does this, I'm going to do the same thing.
Yeah.
So no, there's no end game. I fully intend to hopefully die 20 or 30 years from now with an unfinished manuscript.
That's awesome. Well, man, it's been great talking to you. I appreciate you sharing all this information with me, and You know, I'm sure there's a lot of writers out there that are just going to be chomping at the bit to see this. I know I'm just beside myself getting to hear you say all this stuff. It's been invaluable hanging out with you this week. I really enjoyed it.
I really enjoyed talking to you, man.
And happy birthday, too.
Thank you. And
All
thanks for coming to play.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Wow, I hope you liked that one. I learned so much. I feel honored that he's my mentor, and I'll be writing my own novel called Blue Waters. I've already started it, about halfway done. And it's because of Wayne's inspiration that I've taken on this challenge. So I'm excited to get it done. So for my tour tales, I'm Eric Stone. You know what? I kind of like this studio, but I think I'll change it. Yeah, that's better.